Crypto is falling after the US government's strategic Bitcoin reserve U-turn. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the recent turbulence in the crypto market, specifically after the statements made by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
For the American people, we've also started to get into the 21st century, a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to use confiscated assets.
So here's some context. So the United States holds about 200,000 Bitcoin in strategic reserve. All of this is sourced through criminal seizures and it's worth over $23 billion. If you have been following my channel, you must have watched the video where I explained President Trump's executive order in March where he made the strategic Bitcoin reserve official, but with one big rule: no selling at all.
They signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve, and this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed within the United States Treasury. That's a big thing, Scott.
Fast forward to August 14th. This came as a surprise and more of a shocker to the market, where US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, and I quote, "We are not buying any more Bitcoin."
Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to use confiscated assets.
The markets instantly reacted, and a few hours later, Bessent on his official X account clarified that we are still exploring, and I quote, budget-neutral ways to expand the reserve. Translation: they won't use taxpayer dollars to expand the reserve, but they haven't closed the door either. Now, the market reaction. Within hours of this statement, Bitcoin dropped from a high of $124,000 to $118,000 within hours, erasing billions in value. But after his walk back on social media, it started climbing again. So one important takeaway from this is US headlines and policy shifts can create uncertainty in the crypto market. For traders, this means opportunity in volatility, and for long-term holders, this means uncertainty. Zooming out, this is more than a single-day swing. US Senator Cynthia Lummis has introduced the Bitcoin Act, which states the US must acquire 1 billion Bitcoin within a 5-year period with a mandatory 20-year hold. This would lock away a massive supply, treating Bitcoin more like gold rather than a trading asset. And speaking of gold, here's the twist. A MarketWatch report this week highlighted that on the books, US gold reserves are still valued at $42 an ounce, whereas the current market price is valued around $3,200. And if revalued, that's about $863 billion in hidden value. Some speculate this could quietly fund Bitcoin acquisition, which insiders call the Mar-a-Lago Accord. You know what that means. Officially, it's been denied, but the mathematics is real and it makes sense. Now, the real question is, how are big players acting? Institutional money is already adjusting, hedge funds are scaling policy-driven volatility, whereas big players are watching the reserve story as validation that Bitcoin could be a strategic asset. Meanwhile, the political machinery is leaning in. Recently at the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, policymakers, federal officials, and crypto leaders debated and talked about how digital assets fit into the US strategy. And now, under the Genius Act, stablecoins backed by US treasuries are now part of mainstream fiscal tools, which ties crypto directly into the debt market. And now, the question is, how should this shape your approach? So that depends on if you are a trader. So in order to ask this question, you need to first figure out if you are a short-term trader or a long-term holder. So if you are a short-term trader, then volatility will be your playground. You can make profits by jumping on the opportunity that comes with uncertainty. And if you are a long-term holder, then the Strategic Reserve and the Bitcoin Act and other such institutional development and policy shifts are bullish signs that show that in the long run, you will make a profit. So this is actually a push and pull between nimbleness and conviction. You need to figure out what is your game. So the bottom line of this whole turmoil can be explained in 3 sentences. First, the US holds 200,000 Bitcoin valued over $23 billion in reserves. Second, there won't be any taxpayer-funded buys into the Bitcoin market or other crypto, but other budget-neutral options remain open. And the third, the Bitcoin Act and the Strategic Reserve, as well as the gold revaluation, shows that crypto is cementing its place in the US strategy. It's messy, it's volatile, full of uncertainty, it's political, but rest assured, crypto is cementing its place in global finance. As we conclude this video, I want you all to tell me about your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, the uncertainty in the crypto market, and these statements made by the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent? And if you found value in my video, you can watch my video on meme coins and their risk and reward profile here. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Till next time. Bye bye.